Hi, today I'm going to talk about how to build unstoppable self confidence that lasts. Self confidence is the belief that you are knowledgeable, skillful, experienced, and qualified to do whatever it is that you set your mind to do. For some people, this means that they're willing to take on challenges and overcome obstacles no matter what they are. And I mean, no matter what they are. So, if that's all there is to it, why do we have self doubt and give up or not even try in the first place? Well, there's a lot of reasons, and we're going to be talking about that. But the answer is quite easy, kind of, because we're human. And as humans, we learn certain things that include confidence. And this starts from the time that we actually take our first steps as little babies. Now, the goal of this discussion is to provide you with those steps, or call it a process of how to build an unstoppable self confidence that lasts. And I'm not talking about just for the moment, but for a lifetime. And this is one that you could go back and review as often as you need to, just in case that nagging thought of self doubt starts to creep into your head and it says, you can't do it. Well, I'm going to tell you, you can. Don't let those thoughts into your head. And if they do, these steps should help you overcome that. Now, make sure to watch all of this video so you don't miss out on a unique outlook I came up with that can definitely come in handy this year and for next for a possible New Year's resolution. Okay. I think you'll really like it at the end. So stick around for that. Now, pick your favorite superhero. I got one in my head. His name's Spider-Man because he shows a lot of issues with self confidence, especially in the beginning. Now, there's a lot of superheroes that are extremely composed. They show the absolute highest level of composure. They're positive. They have nerves of steel and a presence that is evident in the way that they physically hold themselves, the way they talk, the way they look at people, the way they punch the bad guys or fly into them or do whatever they do. So pick your favorite superhero. But just think about this, Spidey in particular. Not always at first do they do it right, right? There's a lot of failures, but there's a process of how they get to that super confident superhero level. Now, sometimes that process includes and involves a lot of failure. And I mean, a lot of failures. Think about Spider-Man, he's shooting the webs in his room, and I forget which version it is, Spider-Man 1, 2, 3. I can't even remember all the Spider-Mans, but he's shooting the webs everywhere and everything's failing, right? It's just not there. He learns, right? He goes to jump from building and he falls, and then it's this and that. And well, hopefully we're not going to jump from buildings and learn to do it that way, because it's probably not a good idea to do that. The trick is this: when you fail, don't reinforce the failure with more self-defeating self-talk. In other words, don't kick yourself in the butt and say, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done this. I can't do this. I'm no good at this. Don't do that. Just say, here's something that I need to learn more about. Now, we're going to talk about that. Now, here's a great analogy. Going back to that baby. Think about the baby learning to walk, right? Now, in a baby's head, they probably can't talk unless they're in that movie, the talking baby movie. They probably don't have the thought of, hey, I think I'll stop crawling today and get up on my feet and walk today. They probably don't do that. It could be for a lot of reasons. I'm sure some baby psychologists can tell you why they do it, but we really don't know what's in the baby's head. And we just don't remember as when we were kids how to do that. Now, if you're a parent and you've watched the progression over time of how babies learn to walk, it's an amazing process. If you've never witnessed a baby learn to walk and you haven't yet taken child psychology classes, go take one. And especially in behavioral and motor skills and all that. It's really cool. There's what we call the finger hold, where the parent or somebody holds their fingers out and a kid grabs onto their hand and you help the baby up. Okay. This is a really good way. You're not holding their hands. You're letting them hold your fingers. Okay. This is kind of supportive, but it's learning self-confidence. They have to learn to hold on to the fingers, and then they start to go. Then the table walking, as a parent, there's a lot of sharp corners where you freak out because I was like, oh my God, I hope they don't hit their face and all that. But table walking is good self-confidence, right? The kid does that and he tries to reach. And then there's what I call freestyling. They just get up and boom, they face plant. But usually babies fall back on their butt and they use that diaper, and whatever's in that diaper is a cushion. So that does happen. Now, when a kid does fall, and I can tell you this out of experience, a lot of times the baby looks up at the parent and goes, well, am I supposed to cry or are you going to help me? And a lot of times the parents like, oh my gosh, my kid fell over, and they run over and grab the kid, and there's all that. And the kid's like, oh, and they learn that behavior because that's how we learn as humans. We repeat what we see. Now, the parent that goes, interesting, they just sit there very calmly. A lot of times the child might just sit there and study them. And a lot of times that child might just pop right back up and go and never sit back down. And then the parent loses a lot of weight chasing that kid for a few months. That's a good thing. Now, as a parent, we know these things. If you don't have little kids, you don't know about this yet. But I want you to think about this. If you're that little baby and you fall down, is anybody going to come over and help you stand up again? Probably not. This can lower our self-confidence. This can increase our self-doubt. You want to not do that. You want to be that little kid that bounces right back up again and says, I'm going to go for it again. It didn't hurt that bad. But really, I don't think it hurts. There's a lot of babies, they fall and then they throw themselves back and hit their head. Yeah, okay, that hurt. Guess what you shouldn't do? Don't throw your head back, right? So be that little kid that pops back up. The moral of the story is that you have to fall down and you have to learn to pick yourself back up again. I want you to be that little kid who doesn't think about failure, because little babies don't think about failure. They just either get up or they cry. They wait for somebody to do it for them. I don't want you to think about the failure. I want you to think about getting back up and going for it. Now, when you do something and the result doesn't go as planned, or you absolutely bomb something, you fail completely, don't reinforce your self-doubt that you couldn't do it in the first place. You got to stop thinking that way. Don't do that. Let's go through some examples of what this looks like. So take a look back at the past semester if you're a student, or even the whole year if you're not in school, the quarter, the month, the week, whatever it is that you prefer. Was there something beyond your control that prevented you from succeeding, or did self-doubt and lack of confidence have something to do with anything at all that didn't go so well? Think about that. Get out a piece of paper, pencil, my tools, always handy, right nearby. And I want you to start writing out those things that didn't go so well. And I want you to create a diary, a journal, a log. What did you think after you failed? Start doing that. You don't have to full sentence write it out. Bullet point it. Like I tell my students, it doesn't have to be full sentence unless I tell you it does. Do bullet points. Why did it fail? Was it you? Was it self-doubt? Was it lack of self-confidence? Or was it something more that you could have done? You got to figure that out. Once you know that, you can start avoiding the bad things. Preparation is a big part of failure. If you prepare and prepare and prepare, let's take a professional athlete, for instance. They prepare a lot, right? Football season's going on. I think it's almost over. Not really following it this year, but if you are, and you watch your favorite athlete and they catch those amazing passes, quarterback nails it, or the quarterback keeps throwing it to the people on the other team, it's not such a good thing. Did they do it with enthusiasm and positive energy, or was it self-doubt? What caused the mistakes? Or is it just that the other players were just that much better? Now, I want you to take this to yourself. I want you to think just this analogy. Now, I'm not a runner. I used to be when I was in high school. I could sprint, probably not so much now. I think a bee has to be chasing me, maybe a bear, alligator. It's just in Florida. But if you ever tried to run a mile under 4 minutes, that can be done quite easily by quite a lot of humans, right? There's people that run the marathon in 4-minute miles. I don't know how they do that. It's probably not quite that fast, but it may be. If you tried to do a 4-minute mile and you've never even ran ever, could you do it? Well, you probably don't have the motivation to do it, but let's just say you did. So I'm going to go run a 4-minute mile. What are you going to do? You're just not going to go out and do it. It's not going to happen. I think my best time of the quarter mile when I was in high school was either, I still can't remember this at all. And I gave it a lot of thought. It's just too many years have gone by. It was either 56.8 seconds or 56.8. It's mixed up in my head. The fog of time has taken that knowledge away from me, but it was under a minute and I did it a few times. And I thought, well, if I could do it once, I should be able to do it 4 times and run the mile. Nope, it doesn't work that way. I tried running the mile and I think maybe I got close to 6.5 minutes. Maybe I don't remember, but I know a few years ago I was doing some phys ed classes and I think think I made it to 12-minute mile. My heart was going to explode. I'm not a runner like that. So that was a physical limitation. Now, could I have trained for it? Yes. Could I have done it? I don't know, because I just didn't have the motivation to do it. It wasn't self-doubt. My motivation was not there. So if you remember my motivation meter, and I'll leave that link in the comment. I believe it's in the description already. If your motivation is, I won't, I can't, I don't want to, it's just not going to happen. And that's where mine was. It wasn't a bad thing. It was just reality. And speaking of reality, a dose of reality and what your body can and cannot do isn't a negativity, unless it's something you're trying to do that you need to do. Okay. If it's something you don't want to do, it's not. It just depends on what you want to do. It was just a strange example out there, but again, use that as you will. Now, another great example I can give you is starting a YouTube channel, because a lot of my friends do have YouTube channels and we can relate to this. So I don't know. I tried to look up if there was a statistic that actually tracks the number of people who want to start a channel and didn't or don't due to a lack of self-confidence. I don't think there's numbers on that. There may be, but I don't know how you would measure that. It would be, I don't even think Statista does that. But I do know that there's a large number of people, and they do track this, of how many people do start a channel. I saw something like 114 million. I can't even remember. There's too many statistics. There's a lot. You can look this stuff up on your own, because it probably changes by day. But there's a lot of people, and I mean a whole lot of people, that have started a channel, then quickly got discouraged for many reasons. YouTube is not easy. It's very difficult. Some people say, oh, just start putting up videos and it'll work. Probably not. Now, failure in YouTube, it's common. Some people take it like, oh yeah, but it was just this thing. Other people, it's just, life's over. I don't know what to do now. If your confidence is shaken by something like this, it probably wasn't for you in the first place. But again, if it is something you want to do, think of that baby taking its first steps. And that's where I want you to be. It's a process, right? You have to wiggle your way up off the floor, crawl up something, grab the adult's fingers, have them hold your hands, or whatever it is. It's a process, right? And with the YouTube channel, generally it takes a lot of help and support. It's not something that a lot of people can do on their own. They think they can. They make 5 videos and they go, oh, I failed. I have, like 3 people are subscribed to me, my mom, and my brother or sister, and I forced them to do it because I took their cell phone and subscribed them. Again, it's a process. Now, before I talk about the first steps in gaining that unshakable self-confidence, let's talk about why you might have self-doubt or are not so self-confident in certain areas. One of these things is the fear of embarrassment. Now, going back to the YouTube, a lot of people think, well, I don't want to be embarrassed on camera. I have an awkward voice, or I don't look so good, or my background sucks, or I don't have the good camera, or something. That's fear of embarrassment. That's a real thing. We don't want to be embarrassed. We don't want to look bad, awkward, or stupid in any way, shape, or form. So that's a real thing. And that's hard to overcome. But it's a process of how you work through that. There's ways to fix all those negatives that I just mentioned. Right? You can clean up your background. If I got embarrassed by some of the books, take the books off the shelf and move them out of sight. You're not going to see the rest of what I have up here, because I'd be embarrassed by that. So you're not going to see that. Now, another real one is fear of failure. This one gets a lot of people. This can be due to anxieties that are in your head. It can be real fear, because some people have the fear of public speaking, for instance. That's what I teach, and I teach people how to overcome that. You have the fear of not knowing what will happen if you try something, right? If you put yourself out there in a video on a YouTube channel, for instance, you don't know what's going to happen. You might have a hater come up and go, hey, WTF, what is going on here? I don't like what you're doing. I think your opinion's stupid. I think you're dumb looking, whatever it is. That's a real fear. If you're out in public trying to do something, the fear of failure at work. Maybe you tried for a promotion and you had to do a presentation in front of 50 people in your department, or even 5 people, or even one person, the boss. There's a fear of failure. What if? Stop with the what ifs. All right. Don't do the what if. Don't say what if. What if you succeed? Oh, yeah, but what if I succeed? Then everybody's going to know I did something, and they're going to give me attention, and I don't really want that. And, I just want to be left alone. Fear of success is a real thing, right? I didn't know about that when I was young. I didn't understand when people say, I have the fear of succeeding. I'm like, what? How could you be I want the plaque on the wall. I want my name up there as young and cocky and arrogant and very self-confident. Still am. But I like my name up there. That's a good thing. Now, that's me. Other people don't want that. They don't want the attention for whatever reason. It doesn't matter what it is. That's just how they feel about it. Now, when you do have fear of success, a lot of times it's because the goal is set too low. Well, I'm just going to do a little bit. Okay. Well, it depends on the situation. If you just do just a little bit, you can drown, right? Swimming, you can't just do it a little bit. You got to do it enough so you don't sink and drown. Again, it depends on the situation. You have the fear of success of making it to the other side of the pool or the lake, the English Channel. How about people? I think people have swum across the Pacific, Atlantic. I'm sure there's crazy people that do that stuff. Lake Erie, where I live by, people have tried to swim across there. It happens. It's very dangerous. Obviously, I would not try it. I have zero motivation to try something like that. When I was a kid, I used to swim a mile and it took forever. It just felt like forever. I wasn't a fast swimmer, but I made it a couple times, so it was pretty good. Procrastination could be another reason, and that comes up for the fear of success. And procrastination is a way of avoiding success. I don't want to succeed. So they procrastinate. They just wait to start, wait to finish, wait to end the process. If you want to learn how to stop procrastinating because you're a procrastinator, check out my free course. The link is in the description and you can see it there. Now, here are 5 steps, including a bonus step to start building your unshakable self-confidence starting right now, too. You got to gain knowledge. If you don't have a knowledge, if you have the lack of knowledge, it's kind of hard. You're going to be self-doubting and you're going to have no confidence. Once you gain the knowledge, you will start to have self-confidence. You can do this by watching a video, reading a blog, a book, a magazine, an article. You can take a course, whether it's paid, free. There's tons of them online. You can do the college route. In high school, you're gaining knowledge. You can go to your neighbor. If your neighbor knows how to do something and you know they're an expert, say, hey, can you give me a course on, how to cut down a tree or how to cut a branch, that's falling down on your property, something like that. Find a coach who best suits you and fits your need. Some coaches are in your face tough. Some people need that. They don't know they need that, but you don't know until you actually go. If you're an athlete, former athlete, you know what I'm talking about. There's some coaches, oh, just go have fun and we'll get the participation trophy. That's not for me. All right. I disagree with that theory. I don't like that. If you're going to participate, yeah, you get a little trophy, a little participation ribbon. But the big trophy, the Grandmaster trophies that we used to have in Taekwondo, those are the ones that are taller than the kids. And those kids were taller than I am. Some were pretty tall. But those trophies, those were the grand champions. Those are the ones you want to take home. You need to learn skills. This can help overcome self-confidence issues too. When you learn a skill, it's about learning how to do something, then practicing it over and over and over again until it just happens and you don't even think about it. This is done through practice. Now, big thing about practice. Practice does not make it perfect. It makes it permanent. Hey, Alex, speaking of practice and skills, Alex does roofing. Alex, have you ever fallen off a roof before? Let's see. He's in texting. I know I've never fallen off a roof. I've jumped off a roof, but I've never fallen off one. I've jumped off ladders. I think I fell off a ladder once, but it was only because I missed a step. That was scary. Yeah, 4 times. Well, don't do it a 5th, okay? So he's learned by experience. Probably grab something or do something. I've seen roofers, they build those rails. That's a catch-all, or they wear the belts and harnesses. You're not going to catch me on a roof like that. But you got to be pretty brave to do that. All right, speaking of Alex, experience is another thing too. I like to think about Thomas Edison creating the light bulb. All right, think about it this way. You hear it took him, 10,000 tries to get the right one, but don't think about it that way. It only took him one time to get it right. It took him 9,999 times to find out which ways don't work. Okay, so it kind of comes back at it. Yeah, hazard of the job, definitely. I had some hazards teaching martial arts, working with little children that when you get down on your knees and teach them how to kick, their kicks aren't as high, and you have to learn to low block through experience. My self-confidence was high, knowing I was confident they were going to kick me where I don't want them to kick me. So block low. Now, you got to challenge yourself to become competent. Okay. Falling off a roof 4 times. There's a level of competency to get back up there and keep going at it. Somebody that's been kicked off a horse, you got to be competent. You got to get back up on that horse. If you've ever ridden motorcycle and you wiped out gently on a motorcycle, you just let your bike fall over. I had my Harley fall over once because I didn't check the footing below me and the pavement went away and I had my feet were just dangling in the air. Net 700-pound bike went over, and through embarrassment, I picked it up the wrong way. You're supposed to put your back into it. I just kind of hoisted it up, but it came up. But I became competent at learning to pick it up the right way after that. So you have to learn that. Part of competency is learning to do things successfully and efficiently too. Again, this is rehearsal, not necessarily practicing, but rehearsal. And you got to then review what you did. You got to fix and you got to test, review, fix, test, and just keep going through that cycle. Okay. It's just part of becoming competent at something. Now, here's that fifth step that I told you about. But before I do that, I want you to do me a big favor. Throw me a thumbs up. Show me that I'm being competent, and I would truly appreciate that. Thank you. Now, here's the fifth step and a great bonus to help you to start gaining that self-confidence. Stop comparing yourself to other people. You just got to stop comparing yourself to other people. You should study them. You should look at their positive habits. You can copy their style, follow their advice, walk in their footsteps. You can buy all their products and their books and everything they sell and give them all your money. But you're you. You're not them. Whenever I hear somebody say, you need to live like a millionaire. Well, they're millionaires. If you're just a hundredaire or if you're broke, you can't live like a millionaire. You just can't. It doesn't work the same. The ideas and the advice you can, where they say, don't spend all your money. Okay, that's a good thing. Millionaires don't spend all their money. They spend a certain amount of money based on interest gained, or if they spend principal, they have to earn that back. There's a whole different way of living. If you're a millionaire, a thousandaire, or a hundredaire, okay, follow their lead, but you can't be them. Okay, so don't compare yourself to other people. You're going to fail, and your self-confidence is going to drop because you're like, why can't I be successful like them? Try to be like Elon Musk. What's he worth? $219 billion, give or take 10 or 20 billion. Who knows? But good luck. Okay. If you can do it, let me know how to do it. You got to have a few billion to live like a billionaire generally. Now, the bonus tip, get involved with a good martial arts program. This is a high-tech, high-octane way, if you want, of how to really overcome self-doubt and build your self-confidence. I didn't say self-defense course. That counts, but a real serious martial arts program that starts you off as a white belt. That's somebody who knows nothing. And you learn through years and years of experience from black belts. Those black belts were probably just like you were when they started out as white belts. They didn't know anything, but you would never know that. You think they were the most gifted, perfect human beings ever, and they could break boards and jump 5-6 feet in the air and fight 4 and 5 people at a time and do all this cool stuff. But you know what? They didn't start that way. All right. All this, where is it? These things here, these medals, my master belt, right? I didn't start out being able to do what I did. I didn't have those medals. I had to learn. I had to compete. I had to really go through a lot of grueling, bruising, really horrible, achy stuff to get that. All right. That's why I don't do it anymore. My body couldn't keep up with it. I got my national championships. I got some internationals. I'll talk about that in another video. Again, that's motivation. But again, get into a serious martial arts program. And I could give you tons and tons of tips on this. First of all, don't just join your nearest one. Go watch one of their classes and see if the people are right fit for you. Because even though I love Taekwondo, I would recommend people try karate, but there's so many variations of it. There's so many variations of Taekwondo. Some people like jujitsu. You could get into Muay Thai. You get into just boxing. There's people that teach a mix mash of everything. There's just even the self-defense kickboxing classes at your local gym might have it. Something that ranks you, that forces you to perform skills, to learn new skills, then to test them in what I call live fire exercises. In other words, block a punch. Okay. Somebody's punching at your nose. They're not punching at your ear. They're not punching a foot in front of your face. They're going to try to punch you in the nose, which means you have to learn to either go sideways, go backwards, or block it and do everything, but don't get hit in the nose. All right. I've been hit in the nose twice. I don't like it. It hurts, makes my eyes water, and I don't like it. So I learned, right? You just got to be there. Now, here's a really cool, neat outlook that I want you to think about. This is a great New Year's Eve resolution. So when somebody says, "What's your New Year's Eve resolution?" and you go, "I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to lose 20 pounds." All right. I'm going to do it in a month. No, you're not. You can't lose 20 pounds in a month safely. All right. You got to cut something off. You have to go do liposuction. It's just not going to happen. So here's the unique outlook. I'm going to lose 20 pounds, 1 pound at a time. And I'm going to do it over and over and over again 20 times. Okay. Basically, it's 20 weeks. All right. See you, Alex. Take care. Have a great warm winter. I'm sure it's getting cold up there. So Alex lives straight north of me pretty much. So I'm waving at you, Alex, through the straight south from you. All right. So again, when you lose 1 pound, go, yes, I did it. Be confident that you can keep going. Because remember, you got to do it again 19 times. Don't think 20. Break it down to small baby steps. Remember, think about the baby walking. Don't try to just jump. You can't go from white belt to black belt. It takes years and a lot of practice. It just does. Okay. Set a goal. The goal has to be realistic and it has to be safe, quite frankly, especially when it comes to losing weight. Some people say, I'm going to starve myself. Yeah, good luck. You're going to be in a hospital on an IV bag and you're going to have a really expensive bill. Okay. And you're still not going to lose the weight because it's going to come right back. Do it the right way. Again, get a coach, find a video, follow somebody's advice. When we're setting goals, remember, use the SMART goal: specific, manageable, measurable. I always say manageable. It's the same thing in my mind, but it's measurable, attainable, relevant, and it's got to be time bound to make it a good SMART goal. You need proper time management. You need motivation. You need knowledge. You need competency. And you need to have a mindset that you will lose that weight, but at a different rate, not at 20 pounds at a time, but 1 pound at a time over 20 weeks. Okay. So 1 pound at a time. And usually it's 1 pound per week safely. Even just walking and watching your diet, you'll be pretty good with that. All right. To help with self-confidence issues in public speaking, watch this video next that deals with how to overcome fear and anxiety in public speaking, because that's one of the cool things that I teach too. And this is also a big part of building an unstoppable self-confidence that lasts. I know you can do it. You got to believe you can do it. Have a great night, great day, great afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are. I'll see you online soon.